Yay, what's up, everybody? It's the Trav Mocha Show.
Trav Mocha Show! Trav Mocha Show.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm sitting here watching the day 3 of the DNC, Democratic National Convention. I got Tim Kaine speaking right now. I'll try not to talk. I'm not going to talk about that at all. I just have it on the screen just in case I want to interject anything. I think the soon-to-be former president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, will be speaking later on. But right now, Tim Kaine, the current vice presidential nominee with Hillary, the running mate, is speaking. But what I really wanted to do today is something that I've been putting together for about a week or a little more. I've been putting together a lot of research. The media currently will not tell you a lot of the things that's going on with Hillary's past, mainly because what's going on in the present with her scandals and lies is so glaring that you don't really need to bring up the past. But there's definitely a historical precedent of what we're seeing, with what we're seeing with her today. That's been going on for a long time. Scandals with her and her husband. Obviously, there's infamous and obvious ones. But I just wanted to share some stuff. I did some research and pulled up some things that even... I'm 30 years old, so I don't remember a lot of the things in detail that happened in the 90s of the Clinton era, although I do remember growing up and hearing about them and knowing, some of the things that were going on here and there. But obviously, I was pretty young and too young to really notice or care what was going on with those things. So I pulled up some information, some facts I'm going to pass along, and I'm just doing my part to pass along this information that people understand what they're up against. With the difference between Trump and Hillary is apples and oranges. Trump is a flawed candidate. There's no doubt about that. The man says some crazy off-the-wall things. He's definitely had his fair share of mistakes and things he's done wrong. And I just want people to understand that there's a difference between that and what Hillary has done and Bill Clinton has done and the Clinton Foundation, all this stuff. So I have audio clips. I have tons of information. This is going to be a really fun podcast. Definitely stick around till the end. I think you'll enjoy everything I got. You can give me a like, give me a follow. If you've made it to this point, if you made it 3 minutes in. I've been gone for a while. I haven't done any real podcasting for, I don't know, about a month. Not like one of these good prepared, not some semi-prepared, but one of these pre-recorded ones. And I'm going to revamp my website and my YouTube page. This will be on there as well. Spreaker.com. So check it all out. Trav Mocha. It's really easy to find me everywhere because I've just put Trav Mocha on as my moniker name for everything. So anyway, let's dive right in. These are 10 different scandals. I don't think I'll touch on all of them. I'm going to touch on most of them. And this real bullet point real quick. And then we'll get to the present of what she's been up to now and talk about that a little bit and see if I can fit it all in one episode. It may take me two, but, at least we'll get off to a rolling start here with that. So the first one we got here is Chinagate. Now, Chinagate was the Clinton-Gore campaign in 1996. They allegedly took bribes from the Chinese banks and their government to help with their poll numbers. Now, they were, obviously looking for re-election at that point. So they took money from the Chinese, which you're not supposed to do. That's illegal for a campaign to take foreign money to help with American campaigning. So anyway, allegedly, of course, this is alleged. So the Chinese embassy in D.C. helped siphon funds into the DNC, and then Secretary of Commerce Ron Brown, at Hillary's instruction, was reportedly sold seats on Department of Trade missions to China. Joint congressional hearings were canceled after Democrats threatened to bring up Republican campaign issues, threatening maybe similar allegations or something. And then Monica Lewinsky actually came along and saved this scandal from ever coming to media attention. So, in summary, the Bill Clinton, Al Gore campaign in '96 tried to take, allegedly, and it's not even alleged. I mean, I'm sure they did. I'm sure it was proven at some point. And they did. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So there's that. That's Chinagate. Of course, you got to put gate after everything that's a scandal anymore, thanks to Watergate and Nixon back in the 60s, 70s. So here's number 2. This is Travelgate, the Travelgate scandal. This woman named Catherine Cornelius, she was a 25-year-old cousin of Bill Clinton, was allegedly promised the position of director of the travel office. Hillary Clinton then fired 7 employees from the United States Travel Office and replaced them with associates from Arkansas. So basically, firing good workers and good people in this, already established in this office with people of hers from Arkansas. So illegally doing that. Well, not illegal, but it's shady. We'll put it that way. Records were neither nowhere to be found or incorrectly filed in terms of the whole firing process of these people. There's reported attempt to give the White House airline contracts to a friend. Hillary had the FBI, the head of the travel office. I lost my place. Oh, ruining his career, found nothing to do. Yeah. Oh yeah, they investigated this named Billy Dale, who was the head of the travel office, and it ruined his career. Basically, so Hillary got these people fired and replaced with her friends from Arkansas, including Bill Clinton's cousin, Catherine Cornelius, and then had the FBI investigate this guy named Billy Dale as if he was involved, and did all this investigative FBI crap and ruined this poor guy's career. It says there's a quote here that says Billy Dale and his family went through hell thanks to the Clintons, Attorney General Janet Reno, the FBI, and the IRS. Hillary's greatest crime was not perjury. It was trying to send an innocent man to prison to justify having fired him and his staff without cause. That's just fascinating. So that's just the tip of the iceberg with her and all these fucking clowns.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that. Well, here's the next one, number 3, the Whitewater scandal. Hillary and her husband were partners in a shady real estate development firm called Whitewater Development Corp. In Arkansas. Accusations from impropriety against the Clintons and others soon surfaced regarding improper campaign contributions, political and financial favors, and tax benefits. So that's basically money laundering. That's not even basically, it just is. Anyway, the Clintons' friends and majority owners, James and Susan McDougal, were jailed for fraud. Clinton's successor, Governor Jim Tucker, was jailed for fraud along with municipal judges David Hale and Eugene Fitzhugh, whatever, who cares, who worked with James McDougal. The Clintons walked away unscathed, having apparently done nothing wrong. So they developed they have this shady real estate company. They use it to, that's what money laundering. Money laundering, and by definition, is concealment of funds received illegally through foreign banks or legit business. So you're getting money illegally, and you put that into a business, or you say you got that money through a particular business. things like that. Now, this is a trend that you'll see from the Clintons throughout all of these different things, especially the Clinton Foundation, which I'm going to get to later on. Now, I actually talk more about that either in this podcast or another. But the Clinton Foundation itself, and we've all heard about the Clinton Foundation, which in itself has had a lot of scandal wrapped around it, even during the Obama administration. Obama, in his first 4 years, he passed this legislation and had these things, basically made some sort of deal with the Clintons to divulge and be more, because they were hiding a lot of the information where they were getting their money for this foundation and what that money was actually going towards. It's supposed to be a charity thing, but really, in retrospect, we realized it was all being used to jumpstart, campaigning for Hillary, either when it was for a Senate seat in the past in New York, or obviously now, it's assumed that a lot of that money through the Clinton Foundation has been used as campaign funds, because she came. I mean, her campaign with Bernie, she had so much money to start off with, and she has so much money now against Trump. Everyone looks at Trump as the evil businessman with lots of money. His money ain't shit compared to what Hillary is spending already. I mean, Hillary has so much money in her campaign fund for someone who's hardly done any fundraising for that, or at least wasn't, no one thought she was. She did a lot of public speaking engagements while she was not Secretary of State, basically at the end of the first term of Obama into the second term, and did a lot of public speaking to donors and just other groups and getting money for that. So she was getting money a lot of things. This has all been building up. She's been planning this for years. When she lost to Obama, I guarantee at that very moment, her and the DNC within that first year of Obama's presidency said, made some sort of arrangement that she would get her chance again. Since they had anointed Obama the chosen one, that they would give her a second chance in 2016. So this has all been predetermined, all been prearranged. This is so all this money has been going into things now, or that she has now, has been because of things that she's been doing for the past 6, 7, 8 years. But anyway, we'll go back to these are the things I'm talking about, like these first three: the China Gate, the Travel Gate, now the Whitewater scandal. Which these are all 90s more related things. These are older scandals that people have pretty much forgotten about, and how Hillary was involved in many of them, even though Bill Clinton seems to be more, or got more of the heat for some of these things at the time. So these next couple are more just quick hitters, but there's a man named Vince Foster Jr. Questions cloud the suicide of this man. He was a former colleague, a friend, and White House aide of Hillary's, who had connections to the Travelgate scandal, which I mentioned earlier, and the Whitewater scandal. There's a link out there, and there might be even a book, but it says "The Man Who Knew Too Much." So check that out. Just look in. His name's Vince Foster Jr. I didn't do a whole lot of research into that one. Just kind of a bullet point of his suicide. I guess has a lot of questions. His death was very peculiar because he like this. The link in the story says he was the man who knew too much about some of these things. So, and that happens a lot in politics. Sometimes these political parties are like giant mafias. I mean, organized crime. That's a joke. It's been a joke for a long time. Was the biggest organized crime organization in the world, and people say the United States government. So, yeah, and when you look into some of the stuff, it's hard not to believe some of those things as being true. Here's another little quick one. This is called the Filegate scandal. Craig Livingstone, director of the White House's Office of Personnel Security. Let me say that again. Director of the White House's Office of Personnel Security improperly accessed FBI files on several hundred individuals. Mrs. Clinton called it a completely honest, bureaucratic snafu. I mean, it doesn't even matter what we're talking about. That is just, it's amazing. This is from 1996, and she's already trying to weasel her way out of things with ridiculous, intricately laced lies. So she called the... my goodness. Anyway, many of the files that this Craig Livingstone, many of the files that he accessed were on people from previous Republican administrations. Bill Clinton hired Livingston and is alleged to have looked at the files and requested this move. She was accused by Republicans of violating privacy rights of individuals she viewed as political adversaries. So she basically hired someone to access FBI files on people that she may or may not like, and enemies to either her or her husband and their campaigning or anything like that. Pretty fascinating. And then she called all that she did, a completely honest, bureaucratic snafu in looking at FBI files illegally. So that's fantastic. 1996 was that one as well. This is called the Cattle Futures Miracle. Now this is just more, it's not so much of a scandal, it's very peculiar. It's something that Hillary was involved in. And again, goes back to like money laundering and how she came up with, how she, basically justifying, who knows where she got some of this money, but she, through means like this, it just becomes more and more questionable, like where that money actually come from when you see how they tell you they got it, because it just doesn't add up. So let's see here. This was Hillary's first commodity trade, trading on the stock market. She ordered 10 futures contracts, which normally cost $12,000, with only $1,000 in her account. So this turned into $6,300 by the next morning. And after 10 months, totaled $100,000 with trading help from a guy named James B. Blair. Blair, who at the time was outside counsel to Tyson Foods Incorporation, Arkansas's largest employer, and says he was advising Clinton out of friendship and not to seek political gain. Of course. So she was just helping her to move some money around, do some stock trading. So she ordered 10 futures contracts. Now, I don't know a whole lot about stock, but I believe that means money you expect to earn in the future, not the next day, and not especially in 10 months. So basically something that normally costs $12,000 cost her, with only $1,000 in her account. Anyway, her account jumped from $1,000 to $6,300 in 24 hours, and in less than a year, her $1,000 investment had it turned into $100,000. So, and then anyway, that's just it's amazing. So who knows how the money in her account actually got there, but or grew that fast. But someone was obviously putting money in there for her, and someone that they didn't want to see giving her money. So they just made it look like she made it through the stock market on these investments. This guy named Robert, and they have in quotation marks of Red, Robert Red Bone. So Robert Bone is his name. He ran the Springdale, Arkansas financial services company called Refco. He allowed the trades, and later, after investigation, had to pay the largest fine at the time in the exchange's history. He had to pay the largest fine exchange rate in the exchange history, and was suspended for 3 years from trading. Hillary Clinton says she was able to make the successful trading because she read the Wall Street Journal for research. So again, a couple people getting screwed. Now, not the James Blair guy, who was basically a lobbyist for Tyson Foods Corp. He helped her set up this account and do this trading, or at least they called it trading on the futures contracts. And then this other guy, Robert Redbone, with a stupid ass nickname, he ends up taking the heat for it and lost everything. So, it's assumed he lost. It doesn't say he lost everything, but I'm just assuming it didn't work out for him, based on what I just read and some of the notes I took on some of these things. Yeah. So anyway, it's just fascinating. Keep going through this stuff, and there's a couple more. I'm not actually going to go through all 10. Just 2 more I want to talk about, because in the rest, I'm going to jump back more to the current, to the present, play some audio clips, and have a little more fun with old Hillary. There's one called this just says drug dealer donor scandal. This convicted drug trafficker, his name is George Cabrera, apparently made such a big donation to the Clintons' campaign that he was invited to the White House without the Secret Service even present. So it was found out that this convicted drug trafficker was invited to the White House without anyone else knowing about it. And then Ponzi schemes and political favor scandals. This is the stuff I jotted down. Again, these are just more like bullet points. This one here, as well as the other one. Norman. I'm not gonna say it. This guy is an American first name, Norman, and then like Ying Yang Su Sao. Like, just pick it. That drives me crazy when people. So I know a lot of Americans want other, like, people who come from other cultures to assimilate and like do things American, American, and like speak English, which I understand speak English, but it drives me crazy when someone has like this name of Ying Ying Su, but yet their first name's Norman. Like, hi, I'm Norman Ying Ying Su. Like, whoa. Where'd Norman go? That doesn't sound like a Norman to me. like just stick with your culture. Like, if you're from there, like I have no problem. Me personally, I have no problem with people from China or Japan or wherever. Just stick with what is in your culture to name people. Don't just put American names with your crazy Japanese rest of your name. It's just so I don't know, whatever. So anyway, this Norman Ying Yang Su was convicted. He was a convicted pyramid an investment promoter, pyramid schemer, and he was a Democratic big major donor to the Clintons. He contributed an undisclosed amount to the 2008 campaign. He was then sentenced to more than 24 years in prison in 2009 by a judge who accused him of funding his fraud and manipulating the political process in a way that strikes this is the judge says, strikes at the very core of our democracy. So it sounds like this guy just threw a bunch of money at Hillary before he went into prison. So he's laundering his money onto her by making it a campaign donation, and maybe she's just holding on to it for him. Maybe they'll probably give it back to her when he gets out of prison, or he'll get pardoned if she became president. God, hope. I mean, obviously, I hope not. I don't think she will. Ultimately, I don't think she'll win because she's so flawed. I mean, everything that's going on now with the DNC, the scandal. This is where the Republicans were at the end of the Bush era, where we were all just scratching our heads saying, man, our party sucks. And then the Tea Party came along, and we got more towards being like constitutionalists and constitutional values. We're trying to be more enforced. The old guard is on the way out. Guys like John McCain and Lindsey Graham, and even like Jeb Bush and the establishment. You always heard about that during the primaries, the Republican establishment. Those types are on the way out. And it is now time for the new guard to take over. But that's where the Democrats are now, is that this whole thing with Bernie and that revolution, Bernie Sanders was absolutely screwed. I mean, it was so. I don't like Bernie Sanders, but at least in terms of his platform, I'm not anywhere close to being a liberal or a Democrat, and nor would I ever be. But it's just really unfair. I know a lot of people my age group will say that, like young 16, 18-year-old all the way up to 35, 40, and that group and that range, that's where the Bernie supporters were. Bernie had that Obama vote, and I've talked about that in podcasts in the past. That's why Hillary won't win, because she doesn't get that Obama vote. She doesn't energize the voting base like Obama did, and like Bernie was doing. But like I said before, she had such a deal cut out to her with the DNC. The DNC did everything they could to screw Bernie and to make sure that Hillary got that nomination. It was rigged. The system is absolutely rigged. They have a terrible primary system with the whole super delegates and delegates shit. That's so dumb. Only the Democrats could do that, because in Republicans they don't do that. But the Democrats, they have set aside super delegates who, no matter what people in your voting districts say, you can go against and just say, I'm voting for who the fuck I want. I mean, that's retarded. What's the point of fucking voting if half or even it doesn't matter what portion, a quarter or half of your delegates from your state or your area can just do whatever the hell they want? And that makes no sense. Why they have it set up that way is just, like I said, it is retarded. So they've done this to themselves. The party is completely split. They have tons of riots and problems and whatever, and it's just a mess. And this is what they get. They deserve it. I got worked up there. But anyway, I want to go back to the Hillary stuff here and the last few minutes of the podcast. So stick with me as I got some awesome, great audio clip. Now this is a great audio clip I found on YouTube. It shows it's from March of 2015, where Hillary was giving her press conference on her FBI dealings with the FBI involving her email scandal. The email scandal is, I look at that in the same breath as Benghazi. For some reason, I keep getting them confused as the same thing, but they're not. It happened around the same time, but they're two very different scandals and different wrongdoings. By the way, Michael Bloomberg is on TV at the DNC now. One of the most crooked politicians of all in history. He's former mayor of NYC, and infamously banned soda pop. Couldn't have soda pop over a certain size, and did all this, Orwellian, tyrannical bullshit. So that's but scary enough is that Bloomberg guy could be running for president the next time around. He's definitely on a short list of candidates for 2020 for the Democrats. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, here's the audio clip. Enough of me rambling. Audio. This is, again, it will go back and forth from the 2015 press conference from Hillary and her official statements, one of the many times that she's lied about a lot of things. And then it goes back and forth from that, and then Director Comey of the FBI, who gave the gave the report about 2 weeks ago on Hillary. So we'll go back and forth. Here it is.
There have been questions about my emails, so I want to address that directly.
I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton's use of a personal email system during her time as Secretary of State.
I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed.
They were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
I thought it would be easier to carry just one device.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
We went through a thorough process to identify all of my work-related emails.
The lawyers doing the sorting for Secretary Clinton in 2014 did not individually read the content of all of her emails
and deliver them to the State Department.
It's highly likely that their search missed some work-related emails,
so that the emails were immediately captured and preserved.
There was no archiving at all of her emails.
That was my obligation. I fully fulfilled it.
They deleted all emails they did not produce to state, and the lawyers then cleaned their devices in such a way as to preclude complete forensic recovery.
There were no security breaches.
It is possible that hostile actors gained access.
There is no classified materials.
110 emails contained classified information at the time they were sent or received.
I'm certainly well aware of the classification requirements and did not send classified material.
Even if information is not marked classified in an email, participants who know or should know that the subject matter is classified are still obligated to protect it.
At the time, this didn't seem like an issue.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system.
Back.
Yeah, Steve said, well, she has walked back some of those comments. Mika, that's just really staggering, including the part where the lawyers intentionally destroyed the devices in such a way that they couldn't be recovered.
I just think that...
and schedules being destroyed. I mean, there's so much going on.
I just think that the Clinton campaign must be hoping this is so complicated that people won't get it.
Well, that's pretty fascinating. There at the end, that was actually part of a clip I got from MSNBC, where the Morning Joe talk show, the Morning Joe show that they have, the co-host woman on the show, that's her speaking at the end, saying, "Well, maybe." If you watch the clip on YouTube, she's got her head in her hand, just like she's got a migraine headache, and just rubbing her head and just. Like these are MSNBC super liberals. I mean, they're so far left. They're falling off they're falling off the flat Earth theory, but they're just so far left that even they are scratching their head. Just wondering how she's going to get out of this. They're just like, oh my God. I mean, it was undeniable how fucked she was, how screwed she was. But yet somehow, throughout that whole report of the investigation done by the FBI and Director Comey giving that report on that, which was part of those audio clips, somehow through all that she got no charges. I mean, it's just amazing that they basically gave her a guilty sentence. It'd be like the judge saying, we found you guilty of murder. You killed 15 people, but there's too much room in the jail today, so you're free to go. Court is dismissed. Like, what the fuck? Like, you just gave her a guilty sentence without throwing her in jail. You're basically saying she did all this illegal shit, and then you're not going to do anything about it. Fascinating, but of course the other fascinating part about all this is that she was willingly, she just lied. I mean, it goes back and forth to every one of her lies. She said that they archived the emails, and they didn't. They purposely deleted emails. She said there was no classified information in the emails. There was 110 classified emails, at least. And that's just the ones that they were able to trace. I mean, a lot of them were deleted. A lot of things were, they were not forthcoming. They did not cooperate with the FBI investigation. Clinton and her team of lawyers. I love when they say team of lawyers too. I mean, when you think of a team of lawyers, I mean, I'm thinking there's like a legit 15, 20 different lawyers on this thing. I mean, I'm thinking who knows how many there are. I mean, this isn't just like 2 or 3. I mean, this is a legit major league sports team size lawyer team. So, but the point of all this that I'm really trying to get to is, the precedent is there. They have stepped on the backs of so many people to get where they are, Bill and Hillary Clinton. And if you watch the clips from last night with Bill, I watched Bill's speech. It's just everything about it seems so phony and so fake. I don't think there's any real love story there. I think there's just two people that stepped on the right backs and made the right friends and climbed to power and got powerful, and screwed other people and took advantage of other people and got where they are through the most backwoods ways that they could. There's so much. You can look up every single one of these things. See, this is the other part. If there's any liberals, listening, or which to this point I assume they're not. If there are any, Most of the people listening to this point are my friends and family, who are mostly, and other listeners I've gained. They're mostly conservatives, but there are liberals listening. You can find everything I just talked about. These aren't debatable things. These are facts, things that really happened. And you can come to your conclusions, I guess. But she either had to be one of the most unlucky people of all time to have all this stuff happen to her, or she's just extremely cunning. Her and her husband. It's not just her. I mean, they're both equally manipulative and great liars. And evidenced by one of the most famous lies of all time was Mr. Clinton, and he just like Hillary, in that clip I played, Mr. Clinton said this.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Well, that didn't turn out to be very true, because a few months later, after the investigation went down, Bill Clinton had to address the nation, and then he had to say, then he said this.
Good evening. This afternoon in this room, from this chair, I testified before the Office of Independent Counsel and the grand jury. I answered their questions truthfully, including questions about my private life, questions no American citizen would ever want to answer. Still, I must take complete responsibility for all my actions, both public and private. And that is why I am speaking to you tonight. As you know, in a deposition in January, I was asked questions about my relationship with Monica Lewinsky. While my answers were legally accurate, I did not volunteer information. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible. But I told the grand jury today, and I say to you now, that at no time did I ask anyone to lie, to hide or destroy evidence, or to take any other unlawful action.
Now that also later became true, but it's just amazing how many times they've gotten away with this shit. I don't know who they've paid off and why they're so well liked for being so blatantly bad. Just bad people. Bad fucking people. Like, what in the fuck are we talking about here? Like, these people are blatant liars. Now, I may not like Obama, but and he's a bit of a liar himself, but the Clintons make Obama look like a saint because they are so fucking corrupt. It is insane. It's evidenced at every turn. At every turn in their careers, there's evidence of corruption and scandal and just bullshit that they constantly get away with. And, they get away with it because they have the media in their pocket, they paid off the right people, they have the right friends, and most liberal Democrat voters are fucking too stupid to know any better. They don't care or they don't know the truth. And it's just fascinating to me how the Clintons continue to be where they are today, where now Hillary is a one step away, basically a 1 in 2 chance of being the next president of the United States. It is disgusting in every way, shape, and form. The difference between her and Trump, as I said in the beginning, is apples and oranges. It is two completely different things. Has Trump had his faults? Absolutely. Is he a flawed candidate? Absolutely. But he does things that no one else has been doing for a long time. He speaks his mind, and to a fault, obviously, because he has no filter sometimes, and that's not necessarily a good thing. He's had his the bankruptcies with businesses, but he's also ran. I think I saw a stat where it was something like 96 or 93% of the businesses he's started are still in business today. I think that's a pretty good. I'd take a 93% success rate on anything, anything in life. So then they focus in on his couple bankruptcies. And another thing about Trump is that when he was a Democrat for most of his life, and even gave money to Hillary and Obama, or not Obama, but Bill Clinton, and different people in the past, and we had his show on NBC. No one called him a racist or homophobic or anything, any of that crap then. He was a friend to the Democratic Party and a friend to the Democrats. But he finally came to his senses, better late than never, and became a Republican and knew better, and finally learned the error of his ways, just like the great President Ronald Reagan, who was a Democrat before becoming one of the greatest Republican presidents of all time. He learned, the point is Trump has, he has his flaws, and the Trump University scandal, that one is kind of ugly. I mean, there's definitely things that are ugly, and they're undeniably ugly, but there's also tons of great successes, tons of great things that he's done, and he speaks his mind. He's the type of candidate that, like, when I see other men and other friends of mine, give shit to Trump, I'm like, you talk like Trump. And we always joke about when you're drinking or when you're hanging out with your buddies, you're like, I wish I could be president because I'd tell so-and-so to go fuck herself. But that's what Trump actually does, and that's why he has the popularity he has. But then there's also people who I know speak like Donald Trump, or even worse, and then they go, oh, Trump's not good for the country. Trump is saying and doing the things that you wish you could do if you were president. So you're being a hypocrite when you say you don't like the things he does or says, because you know damn well you would do the same thing. So that's just one way to look at it. But the point is, between the actual scandals, the people's careers have been ruined, the deaths, I didn't even touch it. Look at that. I've gone a whole podcast, I didn't even mention Benghazi once until right now. I have not said it, well, I think I said the word Benghazi at some point, but we didn't even cover Benghazi. We just talked about bunch of scandals from the past. I didn't even hardly touch the Clinton Foundation. I have a whole nother bunch of notes. I have all these notes here. Can you hear them? I have a bunch of notes here just on the Clinton Foundation and all the money laundering they've done. It is fucking insane how corrupt they are. And on the next podcast, I have to do another one because I'm running out of time. And I thought this would happen. I wasn't sure. But, we'll say it's going to be a two-parter to be continued. But, man, there's just so much corruption with them. And now, perfect timing as I sign off. Obama is taking the stage on the day 3 of the DNC. Thursday night will be Hillary and her speech. Oh, there's black women crying. Oh, Obama saved us. Oh, he gave us so much free stuff, so we keep voting for him because we're dumb as shit. Oh, man. And as much as I hate Obama, if I had a choice between Obama for another 4 years or Hillary for 4 years, I'd probably choose a loaded Glock and put it to my face. But in all honesty, I would choose Obama because the Clintons are that fucking bad. And I would choose Bernie over the Clintons. They're that bad. So anyway, I'll do more on that next time because I'm out of time. So I appreciate you guys listening. I'm revamping my page, my page right on Spreaker.com, the YouTube page. This will be on there. I'm trying to make a lot of improvements here this summer and moving into the fall. The fall will be a mix of politics and football. I'll do more sports, do more football-related stuff. I do 2 podcasts a week, one more political about the election, one about NFL Weekly or something, because I was doing a little NFL when I started this last year, the playoffs, Super Bowl, and stuff like that. So thanks for listening. Give me a like, give me a follow. Check out my YouTube page at Trav Moko. That's pretty much it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good week.